speak about this enough, is that I got paid enough money for Green Dot that I could then not do another job for 2 years.
2 years?
While I wrote the second book.
I've got a blank space, baby, and I'll write your name. Nice, I like Taylor Swift. For some years of my 20s, I was very much in love with a man who would not leave his wife. Oh, we're starting here?
But now she could choose to leave, absolutely, and yes, that is a fair point. But, she didn't do this. He did this. Yeah.
I was besotted with the way he combined a high-powered job with the nervous shyness of someone who was bullied in primary school. Okay, besotted, strongly infatuated. Okay, let's see what happens in part 1. How many parts are there? There's 5 parts. 1 for each finger on my hand. Alright, so she's a schoolgirl arguing with her classmates. Yeah, but my dad says if you love your job, you'll never work a day in your life. What does your dad do? He's a farm manager. Right, well your dad is either an idiot or a liar, unfortunately, and that sucks for you. Okay, so it turns out this move did not make her very popular. She seems to have anxiety about what she's gonna be when she grows up. That sounds perfectly relatable. Wait a minute. When I first meet my married man, I have not yet worked it out. She's 24 years old and living in her father's house. I like this part because she talks about how much it sucks to try to find a job. It's hard to convey to those who have been fortunate enough not to have been jobless and browsing Seek how truly soul-destroying the experience is. Imagine you've been in love with a person for years. Okay, now imagine that this person is totally removed from you, and instead a random stranger places a rock in your hand and says, "This rock is what you have now. You don't have your partner, you have this dirty rock." This is kind of what it is like to scroll through Seek, except on Seek the rock is, for unclear reasons, a hot commodity that everyone wants. You might not even get the rock. For every rock, there are 2,000 other people who want the rock. And at the end of the day, the one person who gets the rock gets a rock. So we both like Taylor Swift and Dwayne Johnson. So she applies to this online moderation job using all this fancy, formal interview language. Dad looks at me across the table with so much love, but I can see a little worry in his eyes too. Worry that he is getting worse at disguising as I am getting worse at disguising my sadness. Or maybe I am just getting more sad. Sadness at my sadness is one thing I cannot stand. So I guess her dad is watching her be depressed while she's applying for jobs. Now she's remembering an interview that she had once that went really wrong. Diane asked me about my organizational skills, and I told her I was very organized. Oh, this is a super interesting interview question, which I'm not sure if it's real or fake. And if you were an animal, which animal would you be and why? I knew I was supposed to say that I would be a golden retriever because I am loyal and follow instructions well. Well, that's a great answer. Or a beaver because I am industrious and tenacious. Another great answer. Or I could have said I was a bird, thereby stressing my ability to always see the big picture from overhead. But I did not say these things. I did not take these options. I'd be a meerkat, I said, because I am both sneaky and vindictive. Uh-oh, that sounds like a risky answer. I'd like to say that this response was entirely a result of conscious self-sabotage due to my lack of respect for capitalism. But unfortunately, I'd be lying. In that moment, the answer I gave seemed right to me. I wanted Diane to know that if I worked for her, I would get shit done. I would have no scruples. I'd be a corporate hack. I'd be her little B word. I was thinking in for a penny, in for a pound, I guess. You know what? That's actually really tough if you get put on the spot with like an oddball, open-ended question. What animal would you be and why? I could see why she tried to do something high risk, high reward, and it didn't work out. Soph was my best mate at school, where Sarah and I grew into our adult selves together. Okay, so they give her some advice for the interview. Tell them you like lists. Such authority Sarah has. Lists? Tell them you have, of course, implemented many more complex time-saving strategies. Okay, so then when she goes for the comment moderator job interview, when I talk about my penchant for lists in the interview 2 days later, the HR women effing froth. Ah, Mary Alice loves lists too, don't you, Mary Alice? Mary Alice looks up from the other side of the conference table where she's been doodling on my CV. I do, I love them. I start the job 2 weeks later. She recommends bringing a shawl to the office as the air conditioning is very cold. We all have our office shawls, winky face, she writes to me as if this is a fun situational bond rather than evidence of sexism in office design at the most basic level. Okay, a Zelda Fitzgerald reference. This is the wife of the person who wrote The Great Gatsby, which is considered one of the classic American novels that everyone has to read in high school, and some people were saying that the green dot title, which refers to Arthur's online status, is also a reference to the green light at the end of the pier in Great Gatsby, which represents some kind of unrequited longing. Alright, so she starts her job, and I am immediately made to understand are in every way superior to me, as they are journalists, like journalists. Do not disturb the journalists. I figure myself to be a kind of exceptional aerial type, that I want to be where the people, aka journalists, are. Journalists have begun to filter into the office. I assume they are all journalists, that is. Okay, so she gets introduced to the other people in the office, and Mei Ling is her coworker who's also a comment moderator like her. And they are the unsung heroes, which is a nice way of saying, we appreciate you, but you're not as good as the journalists. So her manager is explaining to her what her job is, our job to moderate those comments and make sure conversation is constructive and respectful. So we delete racist comments, basically? Ha! No, we don't just delete comments, Hera. She uses air quotes to highlight how foolish my assumption is. This is not China. There are laws here. There is free speech. This is not Tiananmen Square. We are not comment deleters. We are comment moderators. So Hera leans back in her chair to see if Mei Ling's expression changes at all during this impassioned speech. But she's hidden her face, and she decides to ignore the Tiananmen Square analogy. Okay, so then she explains that the job involves color coding blatantly racist, homophobic, terrible comments. And every time a person makes a horrible racist comment, their account changes color, and after they do it many times in a row, then they get like a temporary ban. But if they don't say anything bad for 7 days, they go back to being completely uncolored, and they're free to just keep making more racist comments. So I guess the point is that her job is pretty pointless, because a person has to make many repeated horrible offenses in a very short time in order for them to experience any consequences, and the consequences are just not meaningful. So I guess this is part of the capitalist criticism, that her job feels totally pointless and unfulfilling. Okay, this part, Mei Ling and Hera are talking shit about their boss together. How long will it take until that happens, do you think? You just have to wait until you give up on all your dreams, and then everything becomes a lot easier. The moment will come. Have faith. Oh my god, Mei Ling is funny. Mei Ling is funny and depressed. My two favorite things in a potential friend. I am beaming. I am floating. Mei Ling, you saucy devil. You sly dog. You also hate this. Okay, so she finds some solidarity in that Mei Ling also hates the job. So surely she will become good friends with Mei Ling, right? ooh, okay, this is the first time that she notices Arthur, the main love interest in the book. Just getting scrolls, the journalist trundle past me. Let's see. I notice another journalist working on the other side of the monitors. His British accent differentiates his mutterings from the other concealed voices that constitute the soundtrack of my days here. His colleagues are welcoming him back from a holiday, I think. It's hard to hear. At one point, I am angled in such a way at my laptop that I can see through a crack between two monitors, and I observe a sliver of his face. It's a nice face. That feels a little bit underwhelming after reading a bunch of other romance books where the MMC is described as like devastatingly handsome, a war god come to life, the tallest, broadest, richest man in the universe. She's bored and getting out of her mind. She asks him, "Who do you hate most in the office?" He looks at me for a second like, did she actually just ask me that? And then he bursts out laughing. It's the first genuine laugh I've heard all week. Well, Hera, new community moderator, I don't know that I'm at liberty to divulge that information. Well, who? He responds with a very small smile, one that could mean, wouldn't you like to know? So I think the big breakthrough at the end here is he sends a message from Arthur Jones. Who's Arthur Jones? Whoever he is, he just types Doug. Who's Doug? Then I see him, the British journalist from the lift, with a laugh. I am alight once more. A new energy surging through me, the thrill of a challenge. It's on then, it's that simple. So he did something inappropriate by revealing who he hates the most in the office. Alright, we're halfway through part 1 now, and she's hanging out with her friends. And she says, I remember Arthur's eyes on mine. So her friends ask, was there not one moment in the past week where you felt like interested? Surely there was like one. Well, there's this guy in the office. He's pretty old. He looks like 40 or something. He's like absolutely senior to me. Thing is, this guy, his name is Arthur. I think maybe he's flirting with me. And I think I'm flirting with him too. And I actually think he's kind of gorgeous. But he's my work senior. And also my age senior. So her friend is super on board with this and says, Hera, listen to me, and I don't say this lightly. You need to F this man. Then she goes through this Grey's Anatomy reference where she's kind of questioning whether she really needs to sleep with somebody who's her senior at work and how tropey that would be. It's clear that Soph has little to zero interest in Arthur apart from the, and I quote, big boy banging he will give me. I suppose it would be cooler if this were my main concern too. If I belonged to a school of liberated young women who saw sex as a tool for intergenerational dominance, I was the type of person who could actually perform this maneuver while remaining unscathed. Unfortunately, I do not have the emotional dexterity to compartmentalize in this way. So she's saying that she's not mature enough to just have sex with someone for fun, right? And that she can't just sleep with somebody for strategic advantage without feeling some kind of emotional attachment to them. So more time passes and she's still at her job, which she hates. Days pass and I do not have a chance encounter with Arthur again, even though he sits really close to her. There's a divider between them. Okay, this part is weird. She talks about this incel Ian guy at work who keeps inviting her to Dungeons and Dragons. And she really looks down on him and says, thanks so much for the offer, Ian. It's just that I have plans tonight. Another night though, yeah? So now he stops by my desk every day at 4 p.m. to ask me again. Spoiler alert, today will never be the day. I feel bad, but not bad enough to play Dungeons and Dragons in a pub near work with 3 male strangers. So this Ian guy is kind of like a loser who just keeps persistently harassing her at work, and she has to keep politely turning him down. Mei Ling sends her a funny Arrested Development gif. I won't hear it and I won't respond to it. We have a job to do after all, which is to color code profiles on a screen until we die. Okay, so finally she gets some more contact with Arthur, and they're both just talking crap about her manager, Allison. How does Allison spend her Sundays, do you think? I'm freaking out but trying to remain calm. In no way suggests that I've been gagging for Arthur to message me again for the past 2 weeks. LOL, how long have you worked on the same desk bank as her? When I started here 4 years ago, she was already here. I think she's been here forever. Right? I honestly think she was born and will likely die in this room. I think she sleeps here. I think she makes a nest under the monitors each night. I hear a stifled laugh on the other side. This gives me a rush akin to a nang high. Alright, after looking this up, it's apparently a nang high is when you suck on a nitrous oxide canister. I think I've seen some of these before on the ground, and I always wondered what people were doing with them. I did not realize it was to get high. She keeps messaging Arthur at work, and I guess they're developing some flirty banter about Charlie's Angels. Let's see. Okay, this part talks about whether this is predatory. But it would not be fair to characterize this dynamic as totally predatory on his part. I saw myself as a predator too. Perhaps a warped sense of agency on my end, but I felt it nonetheless. I was Hera and I wanted Arthur, and I saw no reason why I shouldn't have him. She gets invited out to drinks with her coworkers, including Arthur and Madeleine. The bar is Mexican themed, staffed by white uni students, obviously. Hera, you might say. Hera, this is your first opportunity to bond with Madeleine outside of work. Surely you should use this opportunity to tighten the bonds of female friendship and plebeian solidarity. Surely you should ask about her life, and she you, and you can each become more than side characters in each other's lives. More than bit parts with no past family or life outside your own narrative. To you I say, now is not the time. Shut up. I'm walking back to the booth and these drinks are heavy. Okay, so basically she doesn't want to become friends with Madeleine. She wants to pursue Arthur for some reason. Alright, so they have a reasonable time hanging out despite being co-workers at a job that they seem to hate. And then she gets alone with Arthur and he's drunk. He is drunk, drunker than I am. Arthur seems nervous, perhaps aware for the first time how drunk he is. Okay, so she extends their alone time together by offering to go to a restaurant with him. Oh my god, Hera, I'm so hungry. Do you know anywhere around here open this late? So romantic, like a movie. I suppose it's like a movie. Alright then, favorite movie, go. He picks up his fork again, has another mouthful. There are so many, but probably Before Sunrise? Oh my god, Arthur, F off, it is so not. So Before Sunrise is a romance movie where these two young people have like a one-night stand, and then even though they were really into each other, they don't commit and they never see each other again. So I guess Arthur saying this means that's what he's looking for. He just wants a quick little one-night stand, and then he doesn't want any more commitment after that. Alright, so after they eat out together alone, let's see, the bus arrives at the terminus. Either a line is crossed now or it is not. I'm not going to kiss him first. I make a decision in this moment. If anything is ever to happen between us, it has to be him who makes the first move. Not because of gender roles, not because I don't think women can propose, but because he is so timid, so unsure, and I want him to know when he kisses me that it is because he very much wants to, and he will kiss me, I know this. It is just a matter of when. I like the confidence. I like the fact that she wants to feel chosen and not that she's the one progressing the relationship. We'll see how that works out. So he just walks off and doesn't actually kiss her in this scene, which is fine. It's okay for a man to take his time and not rush things. That's good. That could be showing that he's serious potentially. And then at work on Monday, she's chatting with Mei Ling. And then I receive a message from Arthur. Ping, I immediately sideline my chat with Mei Ling. Did you have a good weekend? Yeah, I had a surprisingly fun Friday night. That's the night they were together. You? I was thinking the same thing. So for some reason, she keeps prioritizing Arthur over Mei Ling, even though Mei Ling seems like a perfect person to be buddies with. This part seems really relatable for a lot of women. She feels inadequate as a potential mother, and so she feels invalidated. She has this childhood trauma from her mother, which apparently is autobiographical. The author said in an interview that she has written autobiographically about her own abusive mother. So from here we get Hera and the author's insecurity about motherhood and her fear that she would be a bad mom. And then in comes Arthur with the validation. Arthur is perhaps feeling bad that he is not a father at age 40. But here I am at age 24 thinking I will never be a mother because I do not deserve children. I cannot and do not tell Arthur this. Then she goes on this paragraph talking about how she can find happiness through making him a father, and that she's not really able to find happiness herself. I've tried making myself happy with no external forces, and it absolutely has not worked. So she begins to emotionally put all of her hope into just making Arthur happy here. And then this part, she's thinking about masturbating to Arthur, and she gets morally concerned that he can somehow psychically sense it, and so she decides not to. I fall asleep without masturbating, so perhaps I'm an ethical person. That's true in the sense that at this point in the book, she has no idea that he's married. In this part, she's talking about her love life with her friends, catching up, and they kind of serve as each other's therapists or psychoanalysts. Sarah looks at me seriously. Hera, do you remember Max? I do remember Max. Max was a boy I met when I was 17, so Max is the only male person I've ever slept with. When Max told me he loved me, I told him I was gay, which is what I have believed up until very recently. Sarah is trying to suggest that my infatuation with Arthur is an echo of what I once felt with Max, and that it will pass. I resent the comparison. So she brings up Nick Tyrell, which is like Sarah's past romance that didn't work out. Sarah says, Hera, you know perfectly well I remember Nick Tyrell. He was the only man who has ever mattered to me. I reprove. Sarah, you say that about every man you've ever given a wristy to. Alright, we're almost near the end of part 1. She continues and goes out with her friends, and she meets this random, unnamed, long-haired dude in a bar. It's not Arthur, it's just some random guy. And I tell him I'm thinking about climate change. He tells me he thinks about climate change all the time, too. His hand has moved onto my leg, and neither of us acknowledges that this is so. It is inevitable. It is all inevitable. When I sleep with him later that night, I imagine Arthur. It's over so quickly, it's disconcerting. In lesbian sex, I have been trained in reciprocity as the bare minimum. I know to touch her, to lick her, I want to make her feel good. Even if it's just a one-night stand, I like to think, and I do, that there is respect between us. With this man, what is his name? I can't ask him again. I've asked him so many times. I feel this is a transaction, but also like every insecurity I've ever had about my body and my personality is probably true and glaringly obvious. He's likely just doing this to get off, and I should be grateful that I'm allowed to be involved. Where do these thoughts come from? Why is my immediate instinct to hate myself, even when none of the evidence suggests I am undesirable? No matter, I put the thoughts aside. I'm here on an anthropological mission. I'm here to have sex with a man. So she has this very unsatisfying, transactional one-night stand with a random guy whose name is never found out. And the whole time she's just thinking, this is so bad compared to what he would be like with Arthur. And also talks about her insecurity and how she gets a bit of validation from doing stuff like this. Alright, then back at the office, in this final part, she finds a way to hang out with Arthur again, and everyone goes out for karaoke. And she makes a point about feminism here. Kilara has organized this and not one of the men. I barely know the woman, but I want to hug her. I want to say, effing etch, am I right? You rock. I do not think a man in an office has ever organized karaoke, even though every man in an office has hogged the mic at it. So then there's this surprisingly sentimental moment where it's Arthur. Of course, it's Arthur. He picks a song that is really meaningful to Hera. The River by Bruce Springsteen, and she just feels like this is the moment where she decides they're soulmates, that he picked something, he practically read her mind, and he invites her to a duet. Come on, Hera, the mic is screaming your name, and then everyone just eggs her on, and they have this magical moment together where they're harmonizing together, and the song is meaningful to both of them, and they both feel like they just hit a home run at the karaoke place. Alright, then afterwards, they're alone together, Hera and Arthur, and then he validates her big insecurity, and he looks at me very seriously, and he says deliberately, slowly, Hera, any child that has you for a mother will be the luckiest child in the world. I am so touched by what he has said. Then she invites him into her dad's house, which is kind of weird because you would think they should go to his house instead of her house where her dad is sleeping. And she gives him this choice: either you leave now or we go upstairs. The choice is yours. I want him to be sure. Oh, how I want him to be sure. Let's go upstairs. Okay, so then in her childhood bedroom, which is a place of vulnerability and memories for her, they have sex, penetrative sex. When I feel him enter me, I experience a moment of clarity. This feeling is something I will fight for. So this is the first time that they get together physically in this way. And it's this big meaningful moment that comes right after he picks The River by Bruce Springsteen, and they have the glorious karaoke moment in front of their coworkers. Okay, part 2. She wakes up, and here we go. This is the big drama. So his phone rings, he answers it. I couldn't hear the words, but I could recognize the tone, and I could tell that it was a woman, and he said, yes, yep, I'll be home soon. A bigger night than expected. Okay, see you soon. And I looked at him with understanding dawning, and he looked at me knowing that I knew, and then he said, I'm so sorry, Hera, and then he left. So it turns out that there's another woman, or that Hera is the other woman, and that Arthur already has a partner, which turns out to be his wife. So at this point you're thinking she's gonna leave, right? Or at least I'm thinking that. I couldn't erase it. I had felt happiness. My decision to continue is a difficult thing to come to terms with. Perhaps you'll suggest that I should have halted at this point. This would have been the ethical thing to do, and it would have protected my feelings. But what I really wanted was feelings to protect, and here they were, so I would go on.
But now she could choose to leave, absolutely. And yes, that is a fair point. But, she didn't do this. He did this. Yeah.
I'm not sure why she decides to continue this. And it seems like the smart move would have been to say, okay, he totally lied by omission because he didn't tell me that he has a partner. And obviously this guy is not trustworthy, and there go my feelings for him because they were based on a lie, or a fantasy that was based on a lie. So maybe we'll find out what the justification is for continuing to see him.
But now she could choose to leave, absolutely. And yes, that is a fair point. But, she didn't do this. He did this. Yeah.
Okay, so then she discusses what happens with her friends. Hera the Heartbreaker, you will ruin this old man. It is Sarah who makes the inevitable point that someone who cheats on their partner might not be the best person in the world. But Ben declares, God, all men are dogs. Hey, who gives a F? Anyways, how's his dick game? So this shows that it's pretty trivial. Sarah says, maybe you should reconsider it, but Ben changes the group momentum to be like, well, who cares? How is his dick game? No big deal. The next Sunday, I sleep with a guy called Rav, so I continue to tell myself I have agency, that I'm not just submitting to the part of mistress. Men, it seems I sleep with men now. It's no big deal. Sexuality is fluid and I hate myself. So many things can be true at once. This hate myself part, it seems like she has this need for validation throughout the whole book, and she tries to get that by sleeping with Arthur. She tries to get it by sleeping with random men. But it never seems to really work out for her validation. None of them is the real me, just a passing stage for this mass I inhabit. In 2 years' time, I will be different from how I am today. I know it. I offer no promise of stability. I don't feel this way with women. Why is this? Okay, now this is the time she talks with Arthur after finding out that he has a partner. So this is their first meeting after having sex, and it's revealed that he's a cheater. Hi, he says as a greeting. Hi, I answer as a question. Always this reticence, always this nervousness. Okay, so he says, it's just, well, things are complicated, my marriage is complicated, and I'm sorry you had to find out that way, but well, I've never done anything like this before, and I suppose I wanted to say, I understand if you don't want to have anything to do with me now. Oh, so not just a partner, but a wife. Excellent. And I wonder what he means to imply by telling me he's not done something like this before. Does he assume that I have? Is he trying to tell me that he's not like other guys, he's a good philanderer? And why do I feel myself already falling for this? Okay, so she totally accepts his apology and doesn't call him out on cheating or anything. She just says, I know I should not want anything to do with you now, but like, well, I do. I really do, question mark. So I guess, what do you think about that? I can almost hear the relief from his side of the phone. Well, if that's the case, Hera, you should know that over the past 2 days I've thought about little other than seeing you again. The past 2 days with his wife, right? Alright, so now their next in real life meeting, she has to find these sketchy daytime motels for them to meet up and have sex at. And she also has to pay for it so it doesn't show up on his credit card or something. He shows up pretending that he's going to work, pretending to his wife that he's going to work. And then they meet up at this sketchy motel place. And she just seems to want to have sex with him. She doesn't seem to want to discuss his wife or why he cheated or lied about it. Alright, so now they're just having sex again for the second time. Okay, here we go. She's calling him out. Arthur, what are we going to do about this? We slept together twice. I'm not going to give him an ultimatum. I will not be that woman. Why not? But I want him to say something, anything, to indicate that he feels the enormity of this like I do. I don't have all the answers now. I was not prepared for this. But I want you to know I'm not taking any of this lightly. He's not taking the hint is what. So we're in a bit of a pickle, hey? So it would seem... Okay, so she interprets his vague agreement as, okay, I guess that's good enough. I'll let him off the hook now. I don't really know what it is that he's just affirmed. He's said that he wants to be with me, but he also hasn't said that he wants to be with just me. I can't ask anymore now. It's too desperate. It's too desperate. Is that what we care about? We care about our appearance of desperation in this situation? I decide to wait and see. I'll see you at work, Arthur. Okay, so for some reason she really feels great about this instead of feeling that this is like a slimy situation with a slimy guy.
She didn't do this. He did this. Yeah.
A green dot tells me he's online. Oh, it's the name of the book. I finally get it. The green dot, it's Arthur. It's her longing for Arthur. So here she has this discussion with her friends and her friends' boyfriends about sex work. John, boyfriend of Angela, has recently read a think piece in The Atlantic by a woman who says sex work is the ultimate feminist FU to capitalism because it allows her to own and sell her body for direct profit, whereas usually her body is capital in someone else's deal. He does not say it in these words. What he actually says is, this chick was saying that being a prostitute is just like the most honest bargain you can do as a Sheila, and I thought, power to you. Angela rewards John for his progressive thinking by giving him a pat on the arm as if to say she approves. The other men take from this that John's is the right position to have among the women folk, and so start exchanging truisms about sex work being the oldest profession and how sex is a service like any other. Okay, so this is like the men are performative feminists, and once they see that it gets them points to perform this, they all start in with their positive opinions about sex work. Then Hera tries to engage Arthur in the conversation. He's not there because he's with his wife, I guess. So she texts him, sex work good or bad? I type to Arthur, sex good, work bad, he responds. Okay, so he doesn't really seem to engage in the deep discussion here. He just kind of plays it off as a joke. But that's good enough for her, apparently. They have more pop culture reference discussions, which I don't really get. I've heard of Desperate Housewives, but when he says, don't say I'm Mike, I don't know what that means. I'm just not well versed enough in Desperate Housewives lore to know what that characterization implies. Okay, but this one, now he's talking about feminist icons. Well then, lean in, Sheryl Sandberg. Suffragettes died so you could touch yourself at work. Tell me you made Emmeline Pankhurst proud. Okay, so she tells Arthur that she's thinking of masturbating to him at work, and he makes this really terrible joke about these women who fought for women's rights, that she should do it for them. I don't know, this guy doesn't seem like a great guy to me. He, meaning Arthur, does not have many friends. I understand from the way he talks about her, meaning his wife, that his wife has for a long time been his best friend, and now she is the person he lives with, that he is immensely deflated by this. I can tell that he feels guiltier about this than he does about the sex, because the thing is, he laughs with me now and he does not laugh with her. And he promised her that it would always be the two of them laughing, and he thought he'd keep that promise. Yeah, I don't see why this is framed as poor Arthur. I mean, he's the one choosing to do this, right? And just because they say it's bad doesn't mean that it stops being bad. You know, like acknowledging the thing is bad doesn't mean that your sins are now washed away or something, that you've stopped doing harm. But for some reason this book seems to take that strategy a lot, like in the part about Mei Ling, where she's like, oh yeah, I know that we should build some solidarity here, but I'm not going to do that. Hera's talking with Arthur again. She asks him, when did you know that you liked me? Aren't you a little fisherwoman? He responds. This seems like a form of negging. Like he's saying you're fishing for compliments just because you asked early on in this relationship, when did you know that you liked me? Oh, come on, babe, spill, be real. Were you immediately obsessed with me? No, he was not immediately obsessed with me. He was immediately intrigued, though, and knew he wanted to know more. That's a bit of a downgrade. Oh my god, Arthur, you know that's the same effing thing, don't pretend. You immediately knew that you wanted to make love to me in the Castle Ray Boutique Hotel, didn't you? He sighs. Sometimes I think you can read my mind. So he just passively agrees with whatever she says, and he just allows her to impose this fantasy on him. Like, okay, sure, I immediately knew, if you say so. That doesn't sound very enthusiastic. Alright, so then they make love again, which is, I guess, the part that he's most interested in. How long have you been with your wife? He looks at me seriously. I know he is going to answer me. I seldom ask him things like this. And honesty is part of his shtick. His image of himself as an honest man is what keeps him ticking. How are we saying that he's an honest man when he's cheating on his wife with you? How is that his thing? Honesty is not his thing. It's just that most of the time I prefer not to ask. I prefer not to know, and I prefer not to remind him that I am the other woman by asking. Right now, however, I am entangled in bed with a man I am coming to love, and I need to understand what I am dealing with, how much ruin I will cause if I get what I want. Why do you want this guy? Okay, I say, processing. So you're telling me you've been with your wife for like ... almost 20 years. That's what I'm telling you, yes. Before you, I've only been with her. Alright, so she's shocked that he has a long history with his wife. I don't know why that's shocking. Then he talks a bit about when we first met, she was so smart and fun, and Hera is hoping for some juicy dunking on the other woman, on his wife. So she's no longer smart and fun, seems harsh, babe. He smiles pain. No, she is. She's still all those things. It's just, okay, so why are you here with me? Because I can't not be. Okay, the double negative, evasive answer. It's not an answer, but I'll let it go for now. And it's not as if I am unmoved by this revelation. The 20 years I'm apparently blowing up. Or she thinks she's blowing it up, but so far she's just his side chick that he also lies to. I love being alone with Arthur. Why? But I love being seen with him too. Internalized homophobia. Okay, so this part she's talking about how good it feels. She's been gay for so long, since Max. How good it feels to be seen in public in a hetero relationship. So she runs into her old manager, Colin, and she's with Arthur, and Arthur's like trying not to be seen. But she's so happy that somebody sees her with Arthur, and she feels so validated. When I knew you, you were a baby dyke, and now look at you, you have a boyfriend. They grow up so fast, don't they? I am energized, gigglish, I exclaimed to Arthur happily. So I think the author talked a bit about this in the interview, that this was important to her, that the validation from being seen in a hetero relationship compared to how people look at you when you're in a homosexual relationship in public, that it's two different experiences. For the first 2 months of our relationship, we never spent a whole night together. One weekend, he decides to tell his wife that he's staying at a friend's holiday house. Okay, so she notes that she could never lie to her friends like that. They would immediately figure it out. Not that she has. She's just been telling them the truth mostly, that she's sleeping with this married guy. They seem to already know that. I don't think they know at this point that she continued to sleep with him after finding out that he's married. Okay, then she imagines that happiness is with Arthur. What I'm saying is that having sex with Arthur feels like a shortcut to accessing this sense of promise whenever I want. Okay, so she hits him with the Arthur, I love you. And then he says, Hera, I'm ridiculously, hopelessly in love with you. Well, that's good. Yes, I think it's very, very good. It is very, very good. Okay, so this It just kind of feels underwhelming that she's still a secret. She's still just sleeping with him at these random sketchy hotels in the daytime while they lie. Well, he lies to his wife, but this feels like progress to her, I guess. Alright, so this is another hangout session with her friends who are her age. And then the conversation talks about cheating a bit. Says, I know, Soph agrees, but it's also just like so galling that he would cheat on me? It's like Jay-Z cheating on Beyonce, adds Sarah. It makes no sense. Not even, interjects Soph. It's like if Beyonce had a brain aneurysm and started dating like Nick Leckie. I don't know if I'm saying this right, I'm out of touch with celebrity culture. Then Nick Leckie cheated on her. Soph, I questioned cautiously, have you been rewatching Newlyweds? Jessica Simpson's so endearing, I love her. Okay, so then she brings it up. Hera says, so you know how a while back I slept with that guy at work, Arthur, who turned out to be married? Yeah, I'm pretty sure we would call that Hera. Well, the thing is, I haven't stopped doing that. Okay, so then they say, Jesus Christ, Hera, for F's sake, are you serious? So it's been 2 months. Because effing, obviously, it's not a fun thing to tell you guys. I get that it's like morally dubious or whatever. You do know that, like, statistically, he's not going to leave her, yes. I am aware of the affair statistics. Yes, thank you, Sophie. I know cheating is bad, and I'm particularly sorry that I'm bringing it up tonight, Sophie. Ari Reed, the guy who cheated on Soph. But Reed was a jerk who didn't deserve you, and I hope you guys can believe me when I tell you what I feel with this guy is. Okay, so she tries to justify her feelings with Arthur, but her friends aren't buying it. So I do see that from Sarah and Soph's perspective, Arthur's a two-timing cheater promising me love, and in actuality, giving me less than a few hours a few times a week. I do see that from their perspective. He is not the most viable romantic option for me and for the durability of my emotional equilibrium. Alright, so she pretty much ignores her friend's opinion, and she continues to think that she knows better and that she's going to win Arthur away from his wife. This is romance. This is love. I am realizing that I desperately need for Arthur to leave his wife. I want this man for myself. I want him to have one partner, and I want for that partner to be me. I hate it, but it is inescapable. I want to ask him to leave her, but more than this, I want to not have to ask. Please, please, don't make me beg for you, Arthur. Isn't this already begging in her head? So 2 more months go by like this, so now it's been 4 months, and they're just still having sex in these random daytime hotels. Alright, so she gets mad and says, imagine if you didn't have to go, because basically he just leaves every time they're done having sex. Imagine if we could just rest now. The pain is in his expression is real. He tells me he's sorry, that he knows is also unfair. You deserve that so much, Hera. Continues to leave anyways. Oh, Hera, he says softly, I don't want to leave this room either. I haven't wanted to presume that what I want is what you want. Oh, okay. So he was just being super polite. He didn't want to presume that not just running out the door every time they finish having sex. He didn't want to presume that wasn't what she wanted. Okay, so now she talks about how she's been turning down time with her friends just to be available for Arthur. Let's see. If you'll have me, I want to go to IKEA together. If you'll have me, I want to be boring with you. God, Hera, I really want to be boring with you. Okay. So what does this mean for us, Arthur? I don't want to make this crude, but like, I can't break up with your wife for you. No, that you can't. I don't know how this is going to work. But Hera, I want you. I want to be with you. So I will tell her. Okay, so this part she gets him to promise that he will tell his wife, but there's no timeline on when, so he can just continue to leave her hanging indefinitely. And now she's defensively talking directly to the reader, breaking the fourth wall here, I guess, or just continuing the frame of the story. So now when you question how I could have been such a fool, when you are tempted to chide me, perhaps for my naivete, remember this, I knew that he was good, I knew... What? The guy cheating on his wife is good? Okay. I knew that he loved me, and I couldn't fathom why he would cause me and her and himself so much pain if he didn't at least intend to eventually get joy out of it, change his life, start a new one. Our future together was simply the most logical option, as well as happening to be the one that allowed me to continue to have a stake in this world and in my own life. I don't know about that. It seems like the most logical option is he just continues to be a cheater. Alright. Before Arthur made this promise, so this part she's talking about how hopeful she is now that he's promised vaguely to leave his wife with no real deadline on when that's going to happen. And then she just continues to have sex with him and find them hotels to have sex in at his convenience. Alright, so this part she talks about putting her life on hold. To remedy this, I start going out less, because she doesn't want to miss any chance with Arthur, because he's not available because of his wife, so he has to sneak out, and she doesn't know when he'll be able to do that. So she's just doing nothing now. She's just like canceling time with her friends so that she's always available for Arthur, which sounds pretty bad. One weekend, about 5 months in, a month after Arthur has said he will leave his wife at some unspecified point, I'm doing my usual waiting routine. Okay, so then let's see what's happening here. Okay, she's jealous of her friends. Imagine getting to be with your partner all the time. Alright, so she decides to have one night out with her friends because she's just been waiting around. Alright, then she sees 12 messages from Arthur sent 2 hours ago. Alright, so he wanted his booty call, but she was out with friends one single time and missed him. Alright, so she's so sorry. She's so sorry, so sorry. But then she feels angry. Nice. Now I feel guilty. What message was I sending him? Okay, there's this rare spike of annoyance, which is like, is this guy for real? My entire life is on hold for him, and he hasn't left his wife, and now he's angry that on one occasion out of 100, I was not immediately accessible for sex when it was convenient for him, and almost as soon as this feeling comes, it is displaced by understanding. I too would be upset were he absent when he said he'd be around. What? That's not the understanding. The understanding is this guy is selfish. Why is this the understanding? This lucidity feels impossible to access now. Okay, so she almost has a moment where she calls him out, and then she just caves right back in and says, well, I guess he's right, and I should stick around and keep waiting.
But now she could choose to leave, absolutely, and yes, that is a fair point. But she didn't do this. He did this. Yeah.
The next time I see Arthur is the Sunday noon after the Friday night. Okay, what's happening here? Okay, so he has the gall to say how annoyed he was that she wasn't available that time. So, emboldened by my annoyance at the double standard, I say, leave your wife then. And he responds gravely, I will, I promise, I will. I just need to find the right time. I need to be respectful. She's really busy with work at the moment, but once her latest project is done, I think it'll be a lot more viable. I don't want to kick her when she's down. And despite this being a piss-weak justification, yes, there's never a good time to tell your wife you are leaving her for a younger woman. The very fact that he's thinking about logistics and considering schedules is itself heartening to me? No, that's not heartening. You need a real deadline here. If you even want this. I don't know why you want this. Why does she want this? Now she's hanging out with her dad because she lives at her dad's house, I think, still. And then she gets a message from Arthur and she immediately ditches her dad. Dad tries not to show it, but I can see that he is hurt. We were hanging out tonight and I am unceremoniously cutting it short. Oh. Right then, an abrupt exit. Jude, that's her dog. Jude and I will have to cope without you, I suppose. Okay, so now she's alone late at night in the park waiting for Arthur. And there's like a drunk guy wandering around in the park, which is creepy. He might be harmless or he might be a rapist. Yeah. So she's texting Arthur and he's just like, no response after saying he was going to show up. He just doesn't respond. Finally, after 20 minutes, my phone lights up. So sorry I'm running late. Had to deal with something here. Leave me now. Then she gets a text from her friend saying, do you want to hang out? And she's like, nope, I'm waiting for Arthur. I'm just going to turn that down. Okay, then finally, it's been 40 minutes alone in the park with a drunk guy late at night. Arthur, no offense, but where the F are you? Hera, I'm so sorry. I'm not going to make it. I can't get away. I thought I could. I'm so sorry. Alright, so now she's crying, and she didn't realize how desperate she's become and how she's putting herself at risk and turning down her life with her friends and just risk and ditching her dad, who's always been nice to her and supportive. She's throwing all this away for a chance at Arthur, and he's still not leaving his wife and still treating her like this. She has this crying moment. Ooh, but standing... Okay, so she didn't want to be a cliche, but getting your mistress to wait for you in a park at nighttime and then abandoning her there because you can't think up a good enough excuse for your wife? I thought we both knew that there was a line. Okay, I mean, he doesn't know about lines, otherwise he wouldn't be cheating. I stand up and brush myself off, and this alerts the drunk to my presence. Alright, so now this part. He turns out to not be a rapist, which is lucky. And he says, cheer up, love, it can't be that bad. She goes home. She missed hanging out with her dad. She missed hanging out with Soph, her friend.
She didn't do this. He did this. Yeah.
Alright, so that's the end of part 2 right here. How long can this last for? 6 months. 6 effing months. Alright, good. It sounds like she's getting fed up, right? That means that surely this cannot keep continuing. She's gonna call him out and force him to be accountable or leave him or something, right? Okay, so part 3. She made a manic decision. She's going to try to force Arthur's hand here by moving from Australia, from Sydney, Australia to the UK. She's going to quit her job, move out of her dad's house. Arthur was from the UK. Was there a part of me that secretly hoped he'd be tempted to follow me? Tempted to return to his home country to be with the sweet young love of his life? I cannot say this did not cross my mind. Over a smoothie and flat white. Okay, this drink is always referenced as some kind of symbol of maturity. I'm not very hip on the coffee. If there's some kind of coffee astrology or coffee personality test, I don't know what these things mean, but it's this comes up several times throughout the novel as like a sign that she's mature and that it's like a meaningful personality indicator. I told Arthur that I loved him but that I was leaving, that he needed to sort his shit out, that I could only be with him when he'd proved to me that he was serious, when he'd left her, his wife. What are you saying? He asked. You can't just leave me, Hera, without even discussing it first. I'd never been in this position with him before. He was begging. It felt good. I'm serious, Arthur. I wish I wasn't, but I am. I took a sip from my flat white. Okay, yeah, again. And resolutely I looked at him like he was somebody I was firing, someone in a redundancy meeting. I'd managed to dissociate. I'd made a choice, and I would not be swayed. It was his turn to feel things as I had been feeling them. It was his turn to feel powerless. But Hera, I love you. I know things have been hard, but we'll work it out together. We can't work it out together if you're not here. Please don't leave me. I mean, he's had 6 months, and he's just been stringing her along. I paused, determining the right words to use. I said them slowly. That's just it, Arthur. I've been here waiting for you to leave your wife, like you promised, and you haven't done that. You haven't even planned how you're going to do that. I love you. You know this, but that's not enough. I need you to step up, so I'm going to go, and you're going to stay. And if you leave your wife, let me know. But apart from that, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want you to message me. If you won't leave her, I need you to let me live. Nice. So this part, I hope that she never talks to him again. He's a terrible person. I have no idea why she's chasing him so hard. No idea why she's turning her entire life upside down and moving to another country just to try to bait him into leaving his wife. I told Soph and Sarah, these are her 2 best friends since childhood, that my plan was to leave. Sarah, being practical, expressed some worry that I might be attempting to solve a huge problem in a rather melodramatic fashion. Yes, so far Sarah has been correct the whole time. Why are we ignoring Sarah? She's very sensible. Soph did not try to talk me out of it. Some things never change. I can tell you now that I absolutely intended to ghost them. I intended to ghost my entire life. Well, that's horrible. Why is she throwing away Soph and Sarah and her dad and her job and everything just to like make a statement to this Arthur guy? He's not that great. And so I left. Now she's in the UK. She has a new roommate named Poppy, which is a surprisingly common name in romance books. Usually the FMC, like in From Blood and Ashes, the main woman is called Poppy. And also in another book that I'm reading right now, the main character is named Poppy as well. That book is People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. The main character is also Poppy. I don't know why there's so many Poppies, but anyways. She talks about trying to find meaning in her new life in the UK and basically how she's on the rebound from being away from Arthur. I'm trying to forget Arthur. I'm trying to move on, but working in these cafes, walking miles each day, knowing no one, all it does is give me yet more time and space to daydream about him. I want Arthur to leave his wife and come to me, but I also know he's not doing this, so I decided to fast-track falling in love with someone new by sleeping with British strangers. Uh-oh. It is alarming how simple it is to make certain men think that they are in love with you. Most men are ready to read into the first 3 character traits you present them. They all love eye contact. They like if it's clear that you're smarter than them, but you pretend not to be, like some playful idiocy, such as make a nuanced remark about the American healthcare system, but then say you learned about it from The Simpsons. Third thing, let them mansplain stuff to you. So this sounds like the second one. Just let them pretend that they're smarter than you. That's how you get men to love you. So basically, men are just really ego-driven, I guess. I F a gynecologist named Kieran. I F a anthropology grad named Paul. Women are more complex, but similar rules apply. F a woman who makes bronze tampon necklaces. Okay, so she has sex with all these people, but she doesn't care about them. And she says, as you can see, my romantic entanglements leave no room for feelings to grow. I'm self-sabotaging every date, picking people I know I will hate. And if it happens that they seem nice, then I play a version of myself that is so far from who I know myself to be that it is guaranteed we will never fall in love. How could we, when I'm pretending to like Crocodile Dundee? So after going on the rebound and having a bunch of sex with strangers that she never really opens up to or never gives a real chance, she has this silent game with Arthur where they've agreed they won't message each other, right? So what they do is they just type messages and then delete them so that they can see each other typing something, but they never actually send something. And they're just like staring at the status notification, like Arthur's typing, Hera's typing, and then they delete the messages. And that's how they feel like they're still in contact with each other. And she describes it, I'm like a smoker subsisting on Nicorette patches, like a smoker. So she's going through withdrawals, and she's trying to wean herself off of Arthur. 2 months into living this new half-life, it is my birthday. I do not tell Poppy this is so, as I am fearful of what kind of bonding activity she would attempt to orchestrate if she knew. So she doesn't let herself get close to anyone. She's just basically saving all of her energy for Arthur. So I don't really get what the point was of moving to a new country was, other than just to give him this ultimatum. So then The River starts playing on Spotify. That's the song that she found really meaningful with Arthur. And now she's about to fold. Why though? So then Arthur sends her a message. I know you told me not to contact you, but I couldn't not say happy birthday. Alright, so then she immediately gets like super happy that he broke their agreement and messaged her without leaving his wife. And she rewards him by messaging him back. Oh no. Are you gonna say it then? I reply, happy birthday, Hera. I miss you so much it hurts. If I were sober, I might have the strength to not respond to this, but I'm not sober. Effing same, obviously. I'm gonna tell her everything, darling. I'm gonna end it. It's back on. No, why is it back on? What happened to the agreement, to the ultimatum? What happened to not messaging each other until he leaves his wife? Almost immediately, our chat rhythm reverts to what it was like in Sydney. Oh no. Oh no. The city is full of events. Sometimes I won't look at my phone for a full hour. Congratulations. So she's just glued to her phone messaging Arthur. One evening a few weeks after Arthur and I have resumed contact. No. Let's see, just the Ruby Kaur bit. So she pretends to like this Indian poet who is like widely regarded as overrated for some reason. I don't understand how people judge poetry, but she does this as like an ironic bit to annoy hipsters. Sorry, one woman replies in an accent I've now learned means I went to Oxford. You're saying the Instagram poet Rupi Kaur is your favorite artist? Yes. Alright, so she tries to run this like ironic joke, but then everyone just thinks she's stupid, so. It is an abstract sculpture made of nangs. Oh, there it is again. There's that new word. The nitrous oxide canisters people use to get high. You learn something new. What do you reckon? Shall we each steal a nang and get out of here? Sorry, a what? There must be a different word for nangs here. Yeah, I don't blame him. I didn't know this word either. Okay, so yeah, she basically fails to connect with other people at this art gallery, and they don't get her humor. And so then it's back to Arthur. Arthur's the only one who gets her. Arthur, I say gravely. Hera, he counters with the same mock serious tone. I've noticed something, Arthur. British people love going to the pub. Hera, he replies seriously, you can't just go around saying things like that. You can't unstitch the fabric of the universe in a sentence and then expect non-geniuses like myself to just go on with our days. I exhale, here's my person. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so basically Arthur's the only one who gets her. Arthur's the only one whose validation matters. Not all the people that she has sex with, not all the pretentious people at the art gallery who don't get her jokes. Arthur's always saying that he never has time to enjoy things like I do, and I tell him tonight, as I've told him before, Arthur, time is everywhere, isn't everything. Time is literally all there is. This part sounds a little bit like she's getting a little tired of his excuses, but we're only halfway through the book now, so. One morning, 4 months into me living in the new city, 10 months into me loving him. So she spent 6 months having an affair with him in Sydney, and now 4 months alone in the UK, but now on the phone with him all the time. Kate is pregnant. Kate. Name I've been studiously avoiding all this time. So Arthur drops a bombshell. Arthur's wife has a name, and her name is Kate, and Kate, Arthur's wife, is pregnant with their child. Well, surely this means it's over now, right? No more hoping for this thing to turn out well? I don't want to be pregnant, he says. I'm so sorry. He absolutely doesn't want this. Doesn't want to hurt me, to hurt her, to hurt anyone. Oh, it's too late for that. I don't know what to do. He weeps and he doesn't. I mean, maybe don't finish inside your wife that you don't love anymore. Well, what is this guy? How is he playing the victim here? Because obviously, if you've been having an affair with a married man who won't leave his wife, and then you move cities to start a new life, and he tells you on FaceTime that his wife is pregnant, what you do is you immediately say, "How interesting for you. I'm done. Good luck." Yes. Yes, you could totally say that. You think you're lucky stars you got out of that situation in time before it could truly F you up. You amputate that bit of your story. You move on and you find someone single. Someone ready to throw themselves into building a life with you. Yeah, like all those people that you could have opened up to, but didn't. What you don't do is what I do. Uh-oh. Okay, I say, okay, I'm going to ask you some questions. Oh, are we serious? And I need to respond truthfully. Truthfully, I need the cheater to respond truthfully. I really need you to be straight with me, even if it hurts. Okay. Does this change? Oh my gosh, she's just giving him like the softball interview questions. Is this like Fox News asking Trump, like, how did you save the nation today? Does this change how you feel about me? No. And do you still want to be with me? More than anything, do you realize that she's going to effing hate you, but that nevertheless you have to tell her the truth? And the longer you avoid doing that, the worse it's going to be? I do know that. But not yet. I can't tell her. Oh my god, bro. I can't tell her yet. Oh my god. Here comes. I will tell her when the time is right, bro. It's been 10 months, bro. Come on. Promise you, Hera, you are what I want. His reasoning that he can't tell her now when she's pregnant. He can't jeopardize her health. Oh, okay. So he can't leave his wife because he doesn't want to jeopardize her health. He's just such a considerate guy. He's just the most considerate cheater in the history of the world. And when the baby is born, he can't exactly leave Kate immediately. Can't make her a single parent to a newborn, can he? He owes her more than that. He says he is a decent man. In what world is he a decent man? Alright, so let's see, how does she respond to this? Baby's an accident. He's only had sex with her twice. As if this is supposed to be a good thing. Oh, okay, you only effed twice. Well, that's okay then. He owes her this baby. He's taken her childbearing years. Alright. He's still talking. She says, Arthur, I love you. I just need a beat to process this. I'm going to call you tomorrow, okay? Okay, that's very fair. Talk to you soon, darling. And I end the call. Ooh, that's terrible, man. Why does she keep going with this? I don't get it. So now she has another opportunity. Some guys at a bar hit on her. What's a little Australian lass? I don't know. Is this Scottish or something? Like yourself doing in a place like this? He asked me what book I'm reading. They always do. Okay, so now she has to sympathize with these drunk strangers. Wow, it sounds like Sandra really has it in for you. Maybe talk to HR. Is that viable? I say, that sounds difficult, Rob, but have you ever considered that your brother-in-law's tendency to say that was yummy after every meal might be a product of insecurity? Him trying to ingratiate himself with the family and all that? Gosh, and I thought Jeffrey Epstein had problems. Nice, okay, I'm not the only one making these kinds of references. The immediate problem is this. How can I sell this to my friend? I'm drunk. Okay, let's see. So she calls her friend. Alright, so this is just another rebound section. She's on the rebound again. Every time things go horrible with Arthur, which is all the time, she goes on the rebound and she starts entertaining random men, and then her friends try to give her some advice, which she keeps ignoring. Soph already guesses she's pregnant, isn't she? Effing dickhead. What was that, Soph? I said he's an effing dickhead. And let me guess, now he says he's gonna leave her, but only after the baby's born? Yes. How does she know? How does she know these predictable things happening? Why not listen to to Soph and Sarah. They're so smart. Okay, let's see. More of the numbness I've always felt. More dates with people who love me while I'm completely unmoved by them. I mean, if you would give these people half the energy that you give Arthur, I'm sure it could work out. You can't end it, Soph. It'd be so much easier if I could. Soph smirks. And do you feel proud to be actualizing the sunk cost fallacy in the year of our Lord 2019? Sunk cost, and let me, if this, oh, another T Swift reference. If doing this is a sunk cost, then let me go down with my ship. Why though? Why not just let this guy go? He's not that amazing. And so I stay. I stay in love with Arthur, and I stay in England. I commit to remaining here at least until after the baby's born, and then my life can begin. Alright, so she's just still sleeping with random people. Sleep with a woman who works in care. Sleep with a woman who sings sad songs about being sad. Okay, so here in this new city, I want to disappear until such time as I can reemerge in Sydney with Arthur as my loving partner. So it's another rebound section where she just sleeps with random people without caring about them and waits around for Arthur. So I try to stay away, I really do, to give Arthur time to have his baby and leave his wife. Really? But it is only barely possible to live in a new city. The person you love is still online on Instagram. His little green dot, oh, there's the title again, staring at you like an eye you can't see yourself reflected in. Okay. Alright, now I was talking about the pandemic. The author in the interview said this book was written during the pandemic, and that the book also depicts the pandemic. So she's in lockdown now. He sends me flowers. He sends flowers to my flat in the new city while he's in Sydney with his pregnant wife. Thank you for not forgetting that part. He gets the florist to type out little notes referencing our exchanges. Alright, then this part, she pretends not to know the flowers are from him. She pretends to think that they're from Soph, her best friend, and he'll type, you know they were from me. I know, sweetheart, I know, thank you. And he says, I love you so much, and I believe him. Why? Okay, this is the end of this part 3. I last 3 months before I crack. My mind is unraveling. I sleep in at odd hours, crying at pop songs. I cannot keep living like this. I book my flights home. So her whole point of going to the UK was to get away from Arthur, to force either him to make a decision or to leave him and just live her life. And she can't do that because she started messaging him again, and then he reveals that he has a baby, and now she's just waiting around. As long as he just promises that he'll eventually leave his wife one day, she'll just keep waiting around forever and ever and ever. So she's just going to come back home because the whole experiment was pointless. Oh boy, this is depressing. On the 2 flights back to Sydney, flight attendants are in hazmat suits. Finally landed in Sydney. I'm tired but also exhausted. Okay, so it's lockdown. She's coming out of lockdown. Dad is the first to visit, yes. Ever loyal, always supportive dad. Remind me why you resisted coming home for so long. Shush, I'm here now. Day after dad visits. Oh, okay, so she's stuck at a hotel. She can't actually go home yet. She gets off the plane and she's stuck at a hotel in quarantine for 2 weeks, but her dad visits her. Okay, the day after dad visits, day 3 of quarantine, Arthur manages to get away from his place to come see me at lunchtime. He's been working from home with his wife, as has everyone who is legally allowed to. He looks so shy. At this point, I flash him my tits from the window. Really? Why do you keep rewarding this guy? I mean, the only time things happen are when you put your foot down or space yourself from him, but she just keeps rewarding him. Okay, then Soph and Sarah visit. They call me as they stand on the street where Arthur stood just before. I fantasize about them all running into each other down there, realizing they're gesturing to the same person. This does not happen. So she still wants her relationship with Arthur to be real and validated by her friends, which doesn't happen. Okay, then quarantine's up and she gets out of the hotel. And then she's back with her dad. He smiles. "It's very good to have you home, Hera." "Cut it out, loser." I give him a hug. "It's good to be home, Pops." Immediate betrayal. That night, instead of spending time with Dad or my friends, I meet Arthur. Okay, so Ben is her gay friend or something. They're gonna have sex in Ben's apartment. Okay, so this is her first time getting back together with Arthur intimately, physically. And he has not left his wife, so she left the country saying that she's never going to message him again unless he leaves his wife. Then she messages him and then comes back, and now they're just having sex again. He hasn't left his wife, and his wife is pregnant now. So okay. It feels so good, but also doesn't feel quite right. I need to see his face. I spent too long without him to not see him now. Not now, Arthur. I need you inside me. He does not need telling twice. I understand why people start wars. I understand why people blow up their lives. If the choice is this or not this, I will destroy everything else every time. Why, though? What is so great about this guy? It's 9 p.m. At 9:30 he has to leave. I stay in bed after he lets himself out. There's sadness, yes, there's loneliness, but he's so close now compared to what has been. There's comfort in this. I will have this man. He will be mine. I still don't get why. What's so great about this guy? Right now she's hanging out with her friends again. And then she eventually brings up that she saw Arthur again, and her friends are disappointed, but not surprised. Sarah and Soph make knowing eyes at each other. Then Sarah says, "Well, there's the least surprising thing we've heard in a while. Yes, there are 3 things we can count on in life: death, taxes, and you being an effing idiot." We drink into the night, and I message with Arthur the whole time. Man, I wish her friends would just make her stop somehow. I wish somebody would make her stop. In this part, she's trying to find a place to live. She gets a place with some random guy called Ivan. Ivan is a late 20s engineer who wears a Big Bang Theory t-shirt. So Ivan doesn't really care, but he lets her live there with very little fuss. And then her dad says, "You've always enjoyed a fixer-upper," when he sees the place. It's not a great place. It's a strange, out-of-time life I'm having with Arthur. Back in Sydney, but still waiting for his wife to have their baby. She is 7 months pregnant. Bears can hibernate while they wait for time to pass, but humans cannot. We must keep going. Ooh, this is so depressing. She just keeps waiting around for Arthur. I need to pay rent, so I get a job in a shop that sells overpriced matte ceramics. I've always resisted retail unless I'm really, really broke, because it seems to me the apex of capitalism. But now it feels there's something honest about shop work. Okay, so she has a nice coworker named Harry. They banter a bit. When Harry and I work a shift together, we make up weird challenges for the day. Sometimes it's like only talk to patrons in a French accent. Alright, so she's having fun. But also, she's not able to take anyone else seriously romantically. I don't agree to a date with Josh, though, because I don't want to cheat on my married lover. Man, they say there's an infinite number of new sentences in the English language. One night, Arthur has told Kate he's having a business dinner, so we were to have 6 hours in each other's company. I'm in a good mood because of the love I'll be getting, and the sex I'll be having, and the tenderness I'll be feeling. I told him to book the place, a little challenge for him, and I'm curious to see what he can achieve. Usually I book the place, and I tell myself that this is because I have better taste than he does. This is true. Okay, I don't want to ask him to pay me back, usually. But this day, he has booked the place. Arthur texts me the address, so this is like a little test for him. He books a very sterile-looking building opposite a hospital, extremely close to where my mother lives, and therefore to where I live. I feel a bit sick when I notice this. I really do not like the area. It reminds me of a lot of hurt I never shared with Arthur. Okay, so now she's remembering her trauma with her mother. And Arthur kind of fails the test because he books a very unsexy place that reminds her of her mother because it's near her mother's neighborhood. She wears lingerie anyways for him. How disappointing. She's very pregnant now while we're having dinner. The baby's a girl. Okay, I suggest Maisie as an in-joke to myself. Alright, this part she's discussing that she'll co-parent the baby with Arthur. She's positioning herself saying, I'll be a good stepmom, I'm okay with this. Come on, let's go back to the Airbnb. We still got a few hours before you have to get back to Kate. His face twinges with hurt. It's rare that I explicitly mention how he always leaves me to go to her, but for now I let him feel it. Let him feel bad. Of course, Hera, we can do that. Okay, now she's crying. I want so desperately for Arthur to tell Kate. I don't know how, but I will have to make it clear to him that I'm not asking for him to leave her. I'm telling. I need a specific time frame. I need a date. Not just when the baby needs less nighttime feeds or some other vague variant of that. I'm going to have to be that woman. That would have been good like a year ago. It would have been good if you had set the ultimatum right away, set the timeline right away. But I'm glad you're doing it now. So now it's another intermission scene where she hangs out with her friends again. And I guess it's just going to be another scene where her friends give her the idea that being with Arthur is not great, and she just kind of ignores all that. Let's see. Okay, screams Sarah. Let's go around the table. Everyone has to say the worst thing they've done this week. Ben says, this week I was at the gym and I want to use the treadmill, but they were all being used. I saw one that had a sweat towel on it, which means someone had claimed it. Okay, so he steals the treadmill from some guy. That's the worst thing that he did all week. And then Angela says, okay, my turn. And she framed her assistant for doing like a big mistake at work. Oh no, Angela has misread the game. No one is saying anything, too aware that this is not the kind of thing we laugh at. Okay, then Hera, even though Hera should be really quiet right now when they're talking about the worst thing that they've done this week, Hera decides to pipe up. I'm drunk and I'm angry. I try to couch my comment in diplomacy, but I don't do a very good job. Okay, but Andrews, the thing is, someone's going to notice and you are going to have to come clean. Like, that will weigh on your conscience big time. Wouldn't you prefer to deal with it now, even after you cop the consequences? And Angela says, yeah, but if it's a guilty conscience or me getting fired, like I refuse to be fired. Okay, so now everyone gives her this awkward look. And then because Hera pushed Angela, Angela says, oh my god, Hera, don't act as if you wouldn't do the same thing. We all know you're effing a married guy who's about to have a baby with his wife. I think that takes the cake for the worst thing any of us has done this week, wouldn't you say, guys? And now, this is like the big drama. Okay, so her friends actually stand up for her. Sarah, why? What? So Angela's in the wrong here, even though Hera's a huge hypocrite. Her friends side with Hera. Sarah interjects. There's a steeliness about her. Angela, I think you'd better go. John, can you take Angela home, please? Angela stares at her. Are you effing serious? Yeah, I know Angela did something bad here. Framing her assistant and all, but I don't feel like Hera is in the right here, because Hera called her out on it, and when she didn't have to say anything, and she's trying to take the moral high ground when she's very much on the moral low ground here. Alright, it's, you know what, it's nice that her friends are like blindly loyal to her no matter what, and always side with her. Okay, so now the rest of the night, her friends continue to console her and try to make her feel better and make sure that Angela's comment didn't get to her too much. The girls laugh along with me, but again, there's a wariness to it all, like this conversation is occurring on a fault line. Next morning, I leave the house. I feel icky from the night before. I feel the uncomfortableness of Sarah asking Angela to leave. So she knows, Hera knows that Angela wasn't wrong entirely for calling her out. These decisions I have forced my friends to make in my defense. They feel gross to me. They make me feel gross. Nice. Maybe she's gonna take it out on Arthur and leave Arthur. 2 months had passed since my return to Sydney. Kate is due within the week. I'll see you tomorrow, Hera. Arthur says, I love you, then ends the call. Alright, so she's getting hopeful again. She's getting hopeful that now that the baby's coming, her time in relationship purgatory is going to end, and he's going to finally leave his wife. Uh-oh. So, okay, so this part actually, her dog died. Jude, the dog, died, and her dad wants to grieve with her, but instead she chooses Arthur. So now, alone in my share house, waiting on my married man and ignoring my grieving father. Well, that's bad. Her dad's always been loyal and supportive. I know I didn't show any of that stuff, but her dad was very kind to her and non-judgmental throughout the whole book. And so for her to just betray her dad and go running straight to Arthur to give him a chance to play hero is pretty bad. I know you probably can't, but if you could, I'd really appreciate it if you could come over now instead of later. Jude died, I'm very sad. So she's messaging Arthur instead. My screen lights up. He's responding. He's made an excuse. He'll be with me within the hour. Even as I'm experiencing this joy, I'm disgusted with myself. How can I feel such glee while also being devastated about my dead dog? Okay, I wait for my married man to arrive. He can be the hero of this crying. I want to give him this. I want to feel good about helping. Why? Why not grieve with the dad? The dad's been nothing but loyal and supportive. Okay, so now she's recalling how much she loved Jude and the first time that her dad introduced her to Jude the dog. And she's crying, she's grieving her dead dog, and Arthur's just trying to like molest her and get some physical action started. He begins tracing his fingers down my back in spirals and shapes. It's just, Arthur, are you tracing a swastika on my back? Okay, so she knows that he's being inappropriate and like trying to make moves on her while she's grieving. And she rewards him anyways with sex. I jump onto him, straddling his lap. Oh, God. And she imagines Jude. Oh, really, Hera? That's your choice? Ooh. Yeah, that's what we're all thinking right now. Arthur, I think I have to say something I really, really don't want to say. Let's see. Okay. Oh, here we go. I don't know what words will make this better, so just here. You have to tell her everything. You have to give me a date for when you are going to tell her everything. I've become cold. My face has become unreadable. I'm forcing myself to get it out. He looks terrified, but he looks relieved. He says, I know. How about the end of the year? Oh my God, this guy is the master procrastinator. I'll tell her by the end of the year. I can't do it while we're both sleep-deprived zombies. Oh, God. Okay, so he's managed to extend the deadline once again, but now he's tied to a specific date, the end of the year. Surely he cannot push it back any further, right? The next day I go see Dad. He is ashen with grief, but he smiles when he sees me. I tell Dad I'm sorry I couldn't come last night. Well, you did come last night, just not with Dad. And I'm crying as I say this from grief and from guilt, because I know where I was instead. I know what I was doing. Yeah, I don't get this. This is another section where she's like, I know what I did was wrong, but, and then never offers any real explanation as to why. Like, she seems to think that just acknowledging that what she did was bad is like, that's it, you're exonerated, you're exculpated, you've confessed your sins, you're good to go. I don't get that. Like, where's the reflection? Where's the change in behavior? Where's like the, I'm not going to prioritize married, lying, cheating man over my faithful dad anymore. Alright, so the baby's born. The baby, I intend to step parent whose mother doesn't know I exist. That baby sends me photos. They name the baby Maisie Jones. So that's the name that Hera suggested. I almost choke on my own breath. Oh, Arthur, you beautiful fool. I cannot tell him what I meant by proposing Maisie. Okay, so originally it was like a joke. Some kind of like joke that he didn't get. That was some kind of dig at him. I don't really get it, because it requires some kind of reference I wasn't aware of. Alright, so her friends are not that excited like she is. I think I'm with her friends on this one. I don't see Arthur much over the next few weeks, but eventually he's able to leave the house a bit more. And he brings Maisie the baby to see Hera. You guys, she's effing gorgeous. And so now she's like fulfilling her motherhood fantasies. Let's see. It's okay, sweetheart, all will be well. Shush, Maisie, you're okay. Do women just have this voice inside them all the time, ready to emerge the first time they hold a newborn? And so now she's feeling this weird contradiction between the fact that Maisie's crying and, like, am I a good mother? Where did this baby talking voice come from? She feels like she's playing a role, even though this is trying to fulfill some validation for her or something. I tell her about you all the time. You do. When she gets home, she can tell her mother with her eyes that I exist. Right, yeah, I mean, this is a super awkward situation. The guy who's cheating on his wife brings his baby to her, and she has to pretend like she's super cool with babies and super cool with the baby that he and his wife made together. Alright. So the baby's born, and she's waiting for the end of the year. He tells me yes. He promises that we will toast the new year together. We'll eat dinner. We'll make love. We'll be together then. Everything will be out in the open. Okay, so now the end of the year is coming up. He just has to find the right time that it will hurt her the least. I don't believe this guy at all. I bring up the deadline with Arthur again and again. If we are to be together for New Year's Eve, then he must tell her before this. When will he tell her, Arthur? What is your plan? He will tell her literally on the final day of the year, he says. Last possible moment he can do it. It's December 31st. His green dot has been absent. This is it. He must be telling her. Yeah, I don't think so. Okay, so now he shows up at 10 p.m. on the last day. And what does he say? Does he say I did it? Nope, and she can sense something's wrong. You can come in, but please don't touch me, Arthur. This is a lot of internal monologue about trying to emotionally prepare herself for the disappointment, because he's obviously not bringing good news here. He sits on the couch. I sit on the floor facing him. His main concern is what Kate will do to the baby. Oh, okay, so he's just trying to weasel out of it again. Oh, gosh. Arthur, where does Kate think you are right now? He looks at me totally blank, like he cannot fathom one thing that's happening in his life right now. I don't know. We were at her parents' house. I told her I had to go somewhere. I told her I'd be back soon. Arthur, you have to tell her tonight. You cannot have done this to me. I love you and you love me. I've waited. This is real. Not telling her now does not make it unreal. Just practically even, you're going to explain where the F you've been. It's going to come out. So he has to tell her, otherwise it's obvious that he's cheating for nothing. He cedes by, okay, eventually I break into sheer perseverance. He cedes. By 2 a.m. he has no fight left in him. He says he'll do it. And I know he means it this time. I'll crush his spirit. Okay, so the next day, he claims that he's told her on the third day sex. He comes over to my place, tells me how badly she's been taking it. How she can't speak, how she can't do anything. Doesn't feel okay. Then he disappears again. Over the next few days, I barely see the green dot at all. This means he's talking to her, but not reporting back to me. She goes to her friends for support again, the ones that she ghosted when it was inconvenient for her to maintain her relationships. Sarah says, I know you always believed it, babe, but I gotta be real. I can't believe he's actually confessed to the wife. That's like big shit. Now he's being all evasive. So even her friends are getting hopeful now that he's finally telling the wife and actually gonna leave her. On the 11th day of January, I guess, 11 days after the deadline, he messages me. He says we have the day to ourselves. Just like that, I'm buoyant, I'm floating, we're okay, everything's gonna be okay. Uh-oh. Okay, so they meet up. He says, I'm gonna hurt you very much right now, and I'm so sorry. She has asked him to stay. He isn't gonna leave her. Oh boy. So this is the end of part 4. You were right, you predicted it. She's talking directly to the reader again. Everyone was right but me. There you have it, I'm a fool. Now would be the time for me to get angry. I don't have the energy, I'm so exhausted. He's saying sorry, I'm so sorry, over and over again. I'm not responding. I cannot stay here. A lot of effort. Okay, so some random dog comes up to them while they're having this huge breakdown moment. No, I can't do it. Let Arthur sit with that. I look down at him. I tell him not to contact me again. I walk away. Nice. But it's not the end of the book, though. That worries me. Part 5, the last part of the book. So she's really sad that Arthur is going to stay with his wife after she put her life on hold for over a year and he kept stringing her along. For weeks I sit and I cry, do little else. I stop paying rent, I break my lease, I move back in with Dad. Okay, so now she's back with her friends again, who have always been there whenever it's convenient for her to get some comfort. This is like that scene from Twilight where Bella's like really sad that Edward left her. It's really depressing. One afternoon, I am walking on a path by the beach, headphones on and scarf wrapped around my neck against the cold. I walk with purpose to no particular end, as I have always done. I peer at the ocean, not looking for an answer. A very little girl wanders up to me. Oh, so it's a time skip. And now Maisie, the baby, is like a little toddler now. And there's Arthur again. They both seem a little pathetic to me now. Arthur, change the look in your eyes. It's good to see you, he says. Yes, I say. Is it good? It's hard, certainly. So they just randomly meet at the beach one day, years later. And he asks for her back again and tries to justify himself. Oh my God. This guy has no shame. Then he interrupts me, saying in a rush of words, I loved you more every day. It won't go away. She says, Arthur, I've always loved you. You've always known that, but I don't know that I can believe you anymore. He's taken back by this. He's an honest Abe. That's his thing. He's not an honest Abe. I would say he's a very dishonest Abe. He's very dishonest. Oh gosh. Is he telling me he wants me back? Okay, so all this, he keeps begging her, you know me, I love you, I never want to hurt you. And then she says, Arthur, yes? I force myself to ask, have you left Kate? No, I haven't left her. Lamayo. The final string inside me breaks. Okay, nice. My God, I thought she was about to just have sex with him right there or something and cave one more time. Whew, okay, I feel resolve. I feel for the first time the red hot heat of anger. Yes, oh my God, finally. I feel pity, and finally the pity is not for me. I say, this is insane, Arthur. My fists are balled at my side. Yeah, he was insane the first time he found out he had a wife, but you know, we're here now. You always knew that, and it's insane that you're doing the same thing now after everything is so disgusting, Arthur. Yes, it was disgusting the whole time. Now, started talking, can't stop talking. Arthur, you've always told me lies because you've never told me whole truths. Right now is another classic example. Like, you approached me, you tell me you still love me, you tell me you want me, and it's only when I ask that you reveal you haven't left Kate, you're still with her. Damn, yes, lay the smack down on this guy. Oh, this is the end of the book. Okay, let's see what's happening here. It's like, how are you still putting me in this position where I'm hanging on to your every word in case a single effing one of them gives me hope that you won't be weak anymore? Here's the thing, I've only ever loved you honestly. I've always been all in. Said you were weak, you broke my effing heart. My voice squeaks here, I'll admit. And here you are back at it when you have done nothing to change your life. You can't do it again, I won't let you. You've forgone the future, our future, for a past you don't even want, and I see it now. I see that you will never stop trying to catch my eye, and then you have nothing to say when you do, so I'm going to walk away from you now, and I'm not going to look back. He's whispering, oh, whoa, this is weird. So everything fades into this surreal ending where everything just suddenly becomes a painting, and he becomes this tiny little dot, and then she just stops looking at him. He's whispering, I love you, even as he grows tinier, fades into the background of the painting of his life. I can hardly see him anymore. I have to squint to make out where I think he must be so distant. Is that him, or is it a tree? It's impossible to tell. There's a very, very small green smudge on the canvas. So small, I lose interest in it. The sun is going down, and my eyesight is not that good. Besides, there are other things I want to look at. I've been staring at the one spot for so long. And that's it. That's the book. I guess the ending is just that she cusses him out and then just stops caring about him.
And then just quickly back to the adultery element. How do I deal with a married man who doesn't understand that?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think she is woefully unprepared for the situation that she is in. Perhaps if she had been in a polycule, she would be better equipped. But no, I think it was actually... It was really important that Arthur be hypothetically monogamous, because the idea of monogamy is such a kind of sacred idea in culture, especially straight culture, but all culture. And so, yeah, that needed to happen so that Hera could break something and so we could hate her, but also try and understand her. And if there were ground rules, you know, like, if Arthur was actually allowed to sleep with Hera, then
the drama
not much of a story, is it?
Yeah. I'm sure other people are also going like, come on, man, just be honest. And it's interesting reading a book about adultery and then comparing that to like poly lifestyles where the honesty is the thing that basically differentiates it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And those ground rules.
Yeah, it's the trust. It's the trust and the honesty and the respect.
Yeah.
And when you...
Basic respect.
It's respect, yeah. And you're absolutely right. And it's just the sad thing, many sad things about adultery, but one is that the mistress is automatically then made complicit in this lie,
But she has no
which
control
she didn't
over.
choose to make.
Yeah.
But now she could choose to leave, absolutely. And yes, that is a fair point. But, she didn't do this. He did this. Yeah.